Hey there, this is Julie. I am going to start answering questions. And one of the questions that came in the other day was a big one. It is a really big one. And it's a fun place to start. The question was, what is intuitive eating? There are a ton of materials on intuitive eating, and we could probably talk for days about it. Um, but it's a great place to get started, and I'm going to try to give you a condensed version, and I'm not going to edit this video, and I'm not going to worry about it either. So, you know what? It's just a conversation between you and between me, and I'm going to give you my best condensed version of what is intuitive eating. Now, that being said, like I said, there's a lot of materials out there about intuitive eating. There is the book, Intuitive Eating, by Elise, and I have it right here. There's this book, tells you everything about intuitive eating. I actually did my training with them to be intuitive eating counselor. I used what I learned in my training with them to write my own book, which is called If My Ass Were Smaller, Life Would Be Perfect, and Other Lies the mean girl in your head tells you, which means even if your ass is smaller, life might not be perfect. Anyway, I have a really good chapter in there. I think it's really good, where I talked about intuitive eating, and I tried to condense it down and make it easy to understand and used some analogies. So in the intuitive eating book, they list 10 principles of intuitive eating. For me, I feel like once we start numbering things, it feels like rules. And that's one of the things about intuitive eating is we get rid of the rules. We give up diet culture, stop following rules, stop following plans, um, stop numbering things. So anyway, it works for them. It works for a lot of people. There's 10 principles. In a nutshell, this is what I think. Stop following the rules. Stop following diet culture. Give that up. That's the first thing. Give up all those plans, all those guaranteed to lose weight in 5 days or less or your money back kind of stuff. Give all that up. Okay. One of the other things about intuitive eating is you pay attention to the messages that your body is giving you. Think about a baby, and I use this analogy in my book. Think about a baby. When they're hungry, they eat. They cry, they eat, they get full, they stop eating, they stop crying. That's intuitive. We grow up, and that becomes really, really difficult. It's usually not too bad as long as you are not experiencing or recovering from eating disorder. And this is not about eating disorder. So if you have an eating disorder, you might need to get additional advice. But anyway, eat when you're hungry. So when you feel hunger pains, that's a sign it's time to eat. Okay, and then the other one is to stop eating when you're full. Way easier said than done, because you're sitting in a restaurant and oh my gosh, the pasta they give you is like 10 times more than a normal size a normal, whatever you call that, portion. They give you these huge portion sizes and you're full, but you're in a restaurant, it's so good. And if you're like me, I don't ever eat leftovers, so it's really hard to bring it home because I know I'm not going to eat it. And then 3 days from now, I'm going to be like, dang, I wish I had that pasta again that I didn't eat. So it's hard. Stop eating when you're full. And then the other one too about only eat when you're hungry. And I don't think this is one of their principles, but it's also don't eat if you're not hungry. Which is, again, gosh, these are all really hard, okay? It's hard to not eat when you're not hungry because sometimes we just want it. Sometimes we're at a party and we still, it's like, again, that buffalo chicken dip at Super Bowl party, and it's so good. And then somebody brings meatballs, and then there's these cheese and crackers, and it's like, I'm really not very hungry, but I'm at Super Bowl party and I'm never going to get this stuff again. Okay? So, eat when you're hungry. Stop eating when you're full. Don't eat if you're not hungry. But then also eat food that tastes good to you. Okay, so there should be some pleasure in your eating. Um, and look for that. Look for, do I enjoy that food that I'm eating? Okay. And then when you are hungry and you do decide, okay, I'm going to eat, I need something to have, I'm hungry, then kind of ask yourself, what do I feel like having? And, I mean, there's this huge list. In the book, there's a list. Do I want something salty, crunchy, sweet, tangy, liquidy, cold, warm? Just kind of ask yourself, what do I feel like having? Um, and then go for that. Go for that's what I feel like I want to have. And then, for the most part, try that. I mean, it can be difficult, like, oh, I really feel like having a baked potato, but I don't have any potatoes. So kind of like go to the next best thing. What's the next thing I want after that? Another one of the things is on intuitive eating is to make peace with food. That means there's no good food, there's no bad food. And I'm not talking about taste. I'm talking about quality of, like cookies are bad, bananas are good, apples are good, M&Ms are bad. Get rid of the labels. There's no more good and no more bad food. As far as I know, and I think there's some studies out there, and I'm not going to dig them up to justify. As far as I know, every food, maybe with the exception of pure alcohol, has some kind of nutritional value. Sure, some foods have more nutritional value than others, but stop labeling foods in your head as this one's good and this one's bad. Food is food, okay? Your body needs it to live, and stop labeling. What else can I tell you? Part of intuitive eating, they talk about making joyful movement. That's kind of tricky because a lot of people use exercise as a form of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. They use exercise to make up for what you ate. They use exercise to try to change the size, shape of your body. That can be a slippery slope because it sort of falls right into the diet mentality, diet culture. But that being said, there's nothing wrong with wanting to feel strong. There's nothing wrong with wanting to move, with wanting to work in the garden or, walk around the block or feel like you can lift 5 pounds of sugar and go up the stairs and not get tired. There's nothing wrong with that. Wanting to work out, wanting to feel strong, moving your body, that's all natural. Wanting to change the size and shape of your body, that's when we start getting a little bit out of intuitive eating and back into diet culture. So, that being said, one of the other things I want to address before I leave here is a question that comes up all the time, and that is, oh my gosh, if I allowed myself to eat anything that I wanted without restricting, without, having a food list, I'll never stop eating. And that's called habituation. Something like that. I think it's called habituation. And that's where once you give yourself full permission to eat food, any kind of food, not like from your list or whatever, but when you make peace with food and you say it's okay to eat certain kinds of food. Let me show you. This has been sitting on my desk for like 2 weeks because I can eat it if I want to. It's not on a restricted list, and I don't have to hurry up and eat it because I'm starting a plan tomorrow. It's there. I can eat it anytime I want. It's like you get used to it. It's like you feel like once I give myself permission to have it, then you just don't want it as much as when you can't have it. Anything I take away from you, you're going to want it. If I take money away from you, you're going to want money. If I take water away from you, you're going to want water. Anything that's been taken away from you and limited, when you are able to have it again, you're going to want to hoard it. Think about toilet paper in the pandemic, okay? We think that's going to be gone. Now we need 9,000 rolls. How many do you have now that's no longer in short demand? Or whatever you call that, high demand. So anyway, that is intuitive eating in a nutshell. With any luck at all, that will spark some more questions and I can go deeper for you. If it doesn't spark any more intuitive eating questions and it sparks something else, ask me. Ask me a question, and I will do my best to answer it. Like I said, I'm an intuitive eating counselor. I'm a body positive facilitator. I have a master's degree in health and wellness coaching. I just want to try to help you out, and not sure how to do that, what you need to know, what you want to know. So just ask me, and then I'll answer it. So anyway, super non-formal. I don't have a production team. I don't know squat about editing. So this is what you got. Me rambling on. So anyway, please ask me a question and I will for sure do my best to answer it. Thanks. Bye-bye.